guys out there. I'm going to start off with actually a pattern that's fairly new to our shop and it's been working really well. It's called the Cotton Candy. I'm tying that on a size 14 Dairiki. You can definitely use different hooks. These actually are not the best hooks you can use. They can tend to break on the occasion, but they hold up pretty well. This is a really hot pattern right now, and I'm going to start off with some red thread here. I'm just using some uni thread 6/0 here red, and I'm just going to kind of start that just above the eye there.
Brian, what's the name of the fly again?
The Cotton Candy.
Cotton Candy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in some crystal flash. I like to use that larger crystal flash, or you can use a couple different things too, like a lateral scale. That's a little bit stiffer, but it does work pretty good. I enjoy using that. Just kind of start that in there at the top. I like to work that all the way back, not too far. You gotta kind of keep it a little straight too. It kind of tends to want to move on you there. And then you can use different kinds of wire here. I like to use the copper, small copper wire. You can use silver. Doesn't matter. Copper is just kind of like my go-to, but silver will work just fine as well. Start that right on top there.
I'm getting a little bit of your ear, so I'm just going to slide this a little bit over this way and try that.
So this cotton candy dubbing is kind of a mixture of a couple different dubbings from Hairline. Kind of a mixture of olive, some tan, and like this, it's called a shrimp pink. So, but basically just want to get a little bit there. Just kind of put it on. I don't want to start out, you don't want to make it too thick, but you want to make it thick enough, because what we're going to be doing is brushing that out. You want to have pretty much like the body of a sow bug. They're not like a scud where they're thin and long. These are more flat and wide. So that's kind of what we're looking for, is to imitate that sow bug.
Kind of a sow bug type?
It is a sow bug pattern, yep.
Well, I mean, the dubbing, is it they're sow bug?
This is kind of like a mixture of different dubbings. I can always write those down for you too, which ones I use. I just mix them in a coffee grinder. Put a little touch more on that. You don't want to go too far on that, on the head there. Kind of build it up a little bit. Okay. Then take that flash, fold it back over top there. Wants to slip on you on occasions. Get a little bit closer to it. Just do a couple loops. I like to fold it back too. Snip it there. Okay. Take your wire. Just spread it out just a little bit. Just twist that wire off. Whip finish there. And then what I like to use too, you get whatever finish you guys like to use. I just go to Target or Walmart and buy nail polish. That is the best. It holds up extremely well. Those flies, they hardly ever. I think like the actual flashback will actually break before wherever you tied off. And then just go to Walmart or any sporting goods store and get 17 caliber cleaner, rifle cleaner. 22 caliber would work fine too, or whatever brushes that you guys can get at the fly shop. And then just kind of brush that out. And when you're done, I kind of like to fold it back down and then trim those edges. You don't want all those out. But that'll kind of imitate the body and the legs come out as well. So that is the cotton candy.
Do you fish that as the upper fly? Or
I
the
do,
lower
yeah.
fly?
I'll have this guy on top. The cool thing about this fly is you can tie it in many different sizes. A lot of times, this is a 14. I run it in a 12, 14, 16. You can go to an 18 if you want and have it as a bottom fly. And the cool thing about this fly is you guys can get pretty creative with this. You could either put like a small red bead at the front, common, or a little tungsten pink bead at the front, and to give it a little bit more weight. But this is kind of the standard cotton candy, and this is actually, yeah, this is like our hot fly right now. I mean, it's
Color variations?
you could do like a kind of like a, you know, I think I never really fished it other than just this color, but like maybe like more of like a flashy gray would work pretty good, or even like a tan. That's actually a good idea. I haven't really done that.
But you didn't put any weight on there, so you would put
No,
like,
no weight on that. So yeah, you run your full Bighorn rig about, it varies, but typical 8.5, 9 feet rig with some either tungsten putty or split shot to get it down.
Okay.
Yep, yeah, super simple, but really effective pattern. The next one that I'm going to do is probably the most common pattern on the Bighorn. It's called the Ray Charles. Can any of you guess why it's called the Ray Charles?
No blind man could catch
That's
fish
it.
with this
Yeah,
pattern.
that's it. And this has many different variations as well. I'm going to tie one tonight with a soft tackle. You can do it without a soft tackle. You can either do it in tan, pink, or gray. I'm going to start off with a tan. I'm going to go a little bit bigger here on the hook so you guys can actually see it. Yeah, this is probably the most common fly we use on the river, especially in the summertime. It works really great in the summer. Tan seems to work really good. Pink and gray in the spring, but it all varies. I'm going to use also on this one red thread as well. So we'll just start there at the top. Same thing like the cotton candy. I like to use that larger tinsel, or you can use like the lateral scale. Lateral scale goes a little bit wider, and I like the color. I like the flash on this a little bit better. Start there at the top.
Brian, could you move your material bag on that
Oh.
green folder just to
Yeah,
give us a
sorry
little
about
more
that. Yeah.
contrast
There
there?
you
Thank
go.
you.
Much better. All right, same thing. You can get creative. You can use the copper wire, or you can use silver wire. I like to use the copper. I just tie that in there on the side. And then I am going to use the tan ostrich herl. Now, this can be, you might have to do a little bit of experimenting. Some of this tan, you don't want it to be like extremely like a dark tan. I like the lighter versions. You know, this is kind of in between of what you can buy. There's a difference between good quality ostrich herl and a difference between bad quality ostrich herl. It all depends when you start wrapping how thick it gets, right? Some gets too thick, some is too sparse, some is not thick enough. So I am going to...
How do you pick it out?
I think a lot of it is trial by error. I like to use, this is Nature's Spirit. It's a really good one. This is the one that I feel like it works the best. But even like the other big difference is like how many plumes you use. I'm going to start off with 3 here, just to see what that thickness is. So again, I'm going to kind of trim that up, start at the top there, and then I'm going to wrap all the way back, kind of give that fly a little bit more body. Wrap back here, just like that. Then this is where it can get kind of tricky. If you pull too hard, you can break it. And they want to separate on it just like that. So I'll kind of get those a little bit tighter. Slowly work your way up.
So you like a little darker than this one?
I like it. This is like the in between. You can go lighter on this as well. You don't want it too dark. I just feel like, or you don't want them like, say if you're tying pink, you don't want them too pink. I feel like a lot of those new pinks now are almost like a fluorescent pink, and that's just not what I'm looking for. There we go. Okay, then what you're going to do is take the flash, pull that over there. Kind of a tricky part. And then take your wire, and what I like to do is I kind of like, see I'm kind of taking the wire and kind of wiggling it through the hurls. That way you don't pull it in.
You just don't want to trap those fibers.
Yep. And then what that kind of does is too, you see it kind of tightens it up a little bit. I think the original pattern for this, I think Steve, you could probably agree, a lot of them even have wires, just pull that flash all the way over, but this wire actually makes your fly a little bit more durable. And I'm actually leaving a little bit more space here than normal for that soft tackle. I'm going to take my finger, kind of fluff that up a little bit, just like that. All right. Then this year I'm just using hen hackle. You kind of see it right there, or hen neck hackle. So when you get one of these, kind of show you guys where you need to look for the exact thickness, right? Because you don't want that fiber, you don't want this to be that, you don't want that neck to be too big, right? You don't want it to be too small either. So if you look here, you kind of take that, I can get it in the camera, pull it back, you can kind of see all the different sizes here. I like to start in this area, not too much, it's not too, like, what you think is, here's a good way to put it, what you think is the right size, go down a size. Because when you start wrapping, what happens is it looks bigger. And you can get a lot of different things, like this little tool here, it's on my vise. It can kind of gauge where you want it to be. I'm looking for about the 16 range, which the hook is about a 14. So I want to have about the 16, 14 range, but the 14 might just be a little bit too big. So I'm going to just pick one off here. And then you take that little piece back here, you can kind of see, can you guys kind of see that?
Yep.
So what I'm going to do is take my finger and clean that up, just like that. That way you have something to grab onto with the thread. Just kind of tie that in right there, clip that stub. Now, my fingers are not quite curly enough to grip onto that and wrap it, so I'm going to cheat with this little tool here. Dr. Schlick makes these. I'm sure you guys have some in your tying arsenal. What I'm going to do is just take this, wrap 2 to 3 times. I go a little bit more than normal. Okay. Kind of wrap your line around that, and then just wrap right there. Okay, now take your finger, kind of push the fibers. I grab them with one hand, and I wrap back up. That way, to see how the fibers kind of get pushed back a little bit. And then just finish it off with a whip finish there. I usually just do one whip finish. Everyone says you don't do two, but like I said, that nail polish is like cement.
What size thread are you using?
This is 8/0. Well, this is 6, but I use 8 too. Yeah. Careful with the 8 though.
Looks thick from here. I tie with 14 on it.
Oh yeah. That problem is with that, trying to get pull stuff tight, especially with these bugs, it'll snap. That line will just snap, unless you're good at it. So, but
Apparently you're good at it.
apparently you're good at it.
He's good at breaking that thread. I've seen.
But yeah, there it is. That's the Ray Charles. Super simple pattern, but highly effective. This has been one of the go-to patterns for the Bighorn for years.
Can you try Venus thread?
Yeah, I do. I got some Vivas right here. Actually, I love it.
Nice.
Yeah, there it is.
Color variations?
Color variations. Like I said, I like to go with the tan, especially in the summertime. You got the gray here, or the pink. I didn't bring any pink with me. But like I said, be careful. You want a light pink. Get a light pink. Don't get that. A lot of them are going to be like fluorescent, like almost like way too dark, and they just don't. They don't work. The bug, they don't imitate that. The bugs. Basically, what we're going for is when they're pink. My theory is that's that sow bug molting, right? They shed a layer of skin, brighter body, get their new body. So that's the Ray Charles. Now, another one very similar that I'm going to be tying is another brand new pattern on the river that we've been using, and it's become just a good go-to. It's called the Eddie Vedder. You guys know who Eddie Vedder is?
I've heard the name.
Singer in the 90s. Not a very good one, by the way. People might get mad at me for saying that, but I don't think
Was he from Montana?
he's not. I don't know where he's from. But let me put this here.
Yeah.
We'll do a 16 here. Oh, there they are. I want to tie at 14 for you guys, so it's just better to see. So this is another super simple pattern. And I'm going to go with the orange thread here on this guy. You can use red, but orange seems
What's
to
the name
be
of what you're going to tie?
the Eddie Vedder.
I'm
Yep, the
sorry.
Eddie Vedder. Yep.
He's trying to forget.
Well,
Yeah. All right. Start there. Okay, so this flies. I'm going to start with this big. This is a Bighorn trout shop where I kind of bought it, but it's Sal's Scudback from Waxy. I'm using this amber color. I like that amber color. Some guys use clear, but I'm trying to imitate a grayer, more gray sow bug. So you don't need much of this, but you want a little bit more. You'll see why. So I'm just going to cut about 1.5 inches here. Now with this stuff, this is not exactly the most fun stuff to work with, because it wants to slide on you, but I like to try to cut like a little triangle in here. Just something to, or just something to hold on to, right? Thread to hold on to. Just kind of like that. You can kind of see a little bit of a, just like a little notch. All right. So start on that if you can. It can be. There you go. I wrap that all the way back. And don't pull too hard. You can stretch, but you want to pull it back just enough that you get that tight. Okay, go back up. Now, we're going to use the tan ostrich curl again, but we're going to use only one plume. Starting at the top there, go all the way back. Okay, now I'm going to leave my thread there, because what we're going to do is we're going to put on some dubbing here, and we're going to start from the back, work to the front. So what I'm going to use is hairline ice dub right here. Really flashy stuff. And this stuff can be kind of hard to work with when trying to spin it on you. I don't necessarily use wax on all my dubbings. You can, but I just get enough here, just a pinch, really work it on. See how it's getting tighter there? These are fibers that aren't exactly like cut up too much. You could put them through a coffee grinder, but it doesn't really cut it up more. All right, start there. And you want to kind of keep a thin layer. That's the problem. People tend to tie them too fat. That's about perfect right there. Okay, so there's your body. Now you take the ostrich plume and you don't wrap it tight, right? So you want to space it. So get it, and just leave little spaces in there, just like that.
Looks a little like a crackleback, but that's about to change.
All right, now take your scud back, pull it up. I try to keep those ostrich fibers right there. And then this can be kind of tricky because it wants to fold over on you, but get it pretty tight. Not too tight, because I've had it before where you pull and all of a sudden it just breaks, and then you have to restart over, and that's never fun. Then I take this, kind of come back on it, put that off. Just finish it right there. So that's the eddy better. Take your fingers and flume it out. It's a really effective pattern. You can tie it multiple sizes, have it as a bottom bug, top bug. But you can even put a saw tackle on that. And it looks just kind of like a Ray Charles, but you know when the sun hits it, you get that flash to kind of beam out. It's really effective for that pattern.
How are you getting them down in the water column?
Split shot.
Split shot.
Yeah, we use, right now this time of year too, even kind of 9-foot rigs have these bugs spaced 12 inches, 16 to 12 to 16 inches apart. Depending on the time of year, how much water you have, how much weight you use. I have to use tungsten putty, and that's just like how you feel it, you know, just to see where you're at. But yeah, that's it. We don't really use a lot of weighted flies in the Bighorn. I mean, if anything, we use weighted would be like a wire worm. But even then, yeah, not much weighted, so that's it. Okay, now, the next one. I'm going to go to black caddis here. So we're going to a black caddis. The black caddis hatch typically will start at the earliest end of June, last all the way through July. Typically a night hatch or an evening hatch. Can start around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when those caddis pupae start making their way to the surface. And then what we do a lot of times is at night, we'll go do evening floats, and that's when you'll see your boat literally covered. You can literally just scoop them off your boat. So many black caddis. It is amazing. And the fish light up. It is truly, truly a pretty cool sight to see. Now this fly was developed by an older guy, no longer guiding on the Bighorn. His name was David Palmer. He never had a name for it. So we, or Steve and Pete just kind of gave it a name. We call it the poodle sniffer. Dave has poodles, so they call it the poodle sniffer. Dave would never come up with a name, so that's what they did to the poor guy. But now it's forever known as the poodle sniffer. So I don't think he likes it too much. This one's super simple as well. We're just going to use regular black thread here. You can go whatever size. I like to go with the A-dot. You can go thinner. Pardon me, I should have these bobbins set up before. So if you ever seen a black caddis, they lay eggs, and they're pretty fluorescent green. So we're going to use what we have are more like a chartreuse color, but this works
Would you do
pretty
us a
well.
favor? It's focusing on the box of hooks.
There we go.
There you go.
Never done this before, so bear with me.
You're doing good.
And we'll tell you when you're not.
Okay.
Definitely ready for prime time.
All right, so we'll start in the chartreuse wire. Don't want to go too far back here. About right there. And then black pheasant tail. Now the problem with black pheasant tail is anything dyed black becomes more brittle. So gotta be a little bit careful with this. Back of that hook. Make sure your fibers, your tail is pretty even. It can be a little off, but I like the kind of perfectionist. Get it. Start there in the back. I like to come back here and kind of overlap that fly. Okay, now this is why black is tough. You're gonna have to wrap forward, but it's brittle. So again, why we have that wire, that'll help make a stronger fly. And we're not going to go all the way to the eye. Okay, so you want to leave yourself about a quarter away from that eye. What we're going to do is take the chartreuse wire, wrap that forward, and we're almost there. Then just get 2 strands of peacock. What we're going to do is just do a couple wraps there. Flip off that peacock. We have a bunch of different varieties of black caddis we fish on the river. Some that are weighted, but this one just seems to outperform any other black caddis pattern that we have. There you go. That is the poodle sniffer. not as clear there, but you guys can come and look at these when we're done. But yeah, very effective little pattern. And that one, typically what we do is we fish it behind another pattern, or another great black caddis pattern that you can use is an olive pheasant tail, small olive pheasant tail. The cool thing about fishing black caddis is that caddis people, I don't know if you knew, but they swim extremely fast when they're making their way to the surface. So the strikes on your indicator or even when you're fishing are just super fast, just boom, boom, down, boom, boom, down. So you always got to be prepared for them. Fish, they swim fast, and fish know that, so they tend to go after them. It's pretty fun. All right, so I'm gonna do a little dry fly for you guys. Midge pattern. It's called the smoke jumper. Have you guys heard of that one? Pretty common pattern. I think it's fished in a lot of different rivers. You know, the San Juan uses them. The Missouri River uses them. And this pattern is probably one of the easiest dry fly patterns you could ever tie. Everyone has their own variation. Some people tend to tie them. The other problem is some people tend to tie them almost too fat, and that's what you don't want. So I am not going cheap this time. We're going with the Tiemcos here. These are probably the best hook you can get. Super solid. You don't want to have a normal scud hook. They'll be too heavy. So you want to get like that dry fly. This is a slash nymph, but this is more like an emerging hook. A little bit thinner, but very durable. The last thing you want is to be having a little dry fly on a scud hook that's too heavy, and you'll be constantly drying it up. Just a pain. The cool thing about the smoke jumper is you can't only just tie it in a midge. You can do different colors, olive, and give it like even like a small shuck on the back to imitate a blue-wing olive emerging. Pseudo mayfly, you know, which is a small variation of a blue-wing olive. Different though; they are their own different separate species, but they work pretty well. Okay, so this one. Same thing, black thread, normal black thread. You can get creative with the body if you want. I think just the normal black thread is just all you need. Start there at the top. Keep it pretty tight. What I'm going to do. To go back just a little bit. I'm going to work my way back up. See how I'm making that body pretty thick? You don't want it too thick though. Midges are pretty thin when they're emerging from that shuck. Then if you guys ever have access to it, when it comes to CDC, you guys know where CDC comes from on a duck? The butt end, yep. Again, black, very brittle, but this is by far the best. Trout Hunter. Fly shop located at Island Park, Idaho. This is the best CDC you can get. You gotta be careful. MFC, a lot of people buy MFC, CDC, and to me, I feel like it's less sparse. Right, you want that thicker, more pronounced CDC here. So, get your CDC, line up the tips. Okay, I kind of pinch it and work my way up. So I see how it's a lot thicker there now. I use 2 plumes. You could use 1, but it might just be a little bit thin. And I'm going to give this more than what I think. So I'm going to kind of measure it there with the hook. You guys kind of see that's a little bit too long, but I'm going to come back. What you can do is another little trick is just take it, do a couple wraps, and then you can gauge what you need by just pulling that forward. But be careful. So I'm going to pull that forward there just a little bit, just past the bend of the hook, and really tighten that down. just like that. You'll see. Try to trim that up as best as you can. Now, this is where you can get kind of creative. This is the cool thing about this fly. You could do a black dubbing, olive dubbing, you do a red dubbing. I've seen this fly in pretty much 100 different styles. My favorite thing to do is ice dub, right here, peacock black. I like that flash. I don't know. When it comes to like the sun coming out, or even just the little bit of sun that you might have, it will shine that fly. And you know, I think it, especially with, this is a picky fish fly. This is one of those flies that you put on, can't get them, can't get them, can't get them. They'll eat it. Sits in the foam. I'll kind of show you when I'm done. I'll position it of how it rides in the water. I want these fish to see it. I use this fly obviously in the springtime, right around now, but especially when we get trichos, which is that small mayfly. When they're not eating it, when they've seen every other tricho pattern on the face of the planet, they always seem to resort to go back to the smoke jumper. Not a lot of dubbing. I don't want to bulk this up too much. Start in the back here, and all you need is just that's it, just a little bit. Now, take the CC, fold it forward, and then wrap that around the hook, around the near the eye. Pick it up, kind of go there in front of the eye, so that pushes it up there just a little bit. You don't want it to be too far down. You don't want it to be too far up. You'll see here why. Usually do 2 wet finishes, but put some stuff on there for you. Okay, so that's the smoke jumper. And the biggest thing is too, if you feel like you've made the wing too long, don't trim the front. It just takes practice by pulling it forward. I don't like that trimmed, just that straight cut trim look. I don't know, it probably doesn't matter, but I just can't. I just don't like that. So, but when it rides in the water, this is how it rides, just like that. So pretty much what it imitates is the midge coming out of its shuck. So the wings are just popping out, lower body is still hanging under the water. You can tell what they're eating. You can tell by the way the fish is eating when you should throw this pattern. Typically, they usually just go for it, but when you do it, you don't see the mouth coming out of the water, you see the top of their head. This is a great pattern for that. And like I said, I tie this. You can tie this in many different sizes. This is a 16. I like to use 18s, so you can go down to a 20. But 20 is pretty tough to tie it, but you can do it. And yeah, very effective very effective fly.
You fish it and actually see it.
You do see it. That's the nice thing about the black too. Is the black on cloudy days, darker colors you see they show up better. I always pull out a darker color, and everyone's like, "I'm not going to see it." I'm like, "No, you will. This will be." You throw white on a cloudy day, can't see it. Throw black, it's right there. So, cool thing about this fly is too is you could use it as like, so a lot of times we fish 2 flies on the Bighorn. When it comes to dry fly fishing, the back fly can tend to be the one that actually snags a fish, which I don't really like. So I do truly like, honestly, fishing 1 fly with a dry fly, I mean, when we're dry fly fishing. But if you were to fish 2 flies, especially your lead fly, have with a black post or a dark gray post, be able to see it better, and you can fish a smaller fly behind that, but it's just more of like an indicator fly. They will eat it. Sometimes they won't, but it's just a good indication. On our river, we do a lot of fishing upstream dry fly fishing, where you go to Missouri and all that. A lot of it is downstream and across, and you feed line, feed line, feed line. We get, on our river, a lot of days, we get pods of fish. You can see them in pods of fish up to 100 fish in one pod. And you can fish right up to them. Doesn't matter. You can line them. They still keep coming back. The food's there, they're going to eat. So that's the cool thing about that. But Yep, that's a smoke jumper. Probably one of my best go-to dry fly patterns here. How are we looking on time? Doing good? Quarter till? Perfect. All right. Well, I'm going to show you another fly that I kind of developed. It's kind of one of my own personal flies. It's called the jelly bean. Again, I don't know how somebody started naming it the jelly bean. I just ended up naming that. So, but another good, very effective fly. Super simple. That's the cool thing about our river is you never want to complicate what you're fishing. So we have a lot of guys that come to our river, especially when it comes to like streamer fishing. They'll be throwing double articulated flies and they don't eat it. It's too much. Go to the Yellowstone, the Madison, does work. They love them. But our river too, when we are fishing streamers or something like that, thin, sparse. This is another fly for another nymph pattern, but super thin, super sparse. And this one here is, you can buy these beads at any fly shop you go to, but I'm going to give you a little secret. Just go to a craft store. You can get 10,000 beads for $8, and they'll last you years. They're little glass beads. I'm not quite sure what the name is, but you'll know. They have two different types. You have this really bright red bead here. I'll kind of put these up. Or you have like a really dark red. To me, the dark red's just not it. That lighter red, that more bright red, it seems to be the better of the two. And I've played around with both of them. I've tied up dozens with the dark red and then found out that I wasted my time tying. But who knows, next year they could just start eating that one. Who knows? That's the cool thing about our river. There's always a different fly every year. That's something, I think every river's like that. But so put that little red bead on there. Orange thread here. So I like a little bit of an orange collar when if you're done. Start behind there. Work your way all the way back. Again, not all the way down on that bend. Okay, and then for those of you that kind of came in a little bit later, we tied a fly earlier called the cotton candy. I like to use that same dubbing. It's a mixture of different dubbings. If you guys want to get the recipe, I can write it out for you or tell you what to buy. Cool thing about this fly too is you can use even just like a basic pink, light pink dubbing. It'll work. It's just a regular pink soft tackle. It'll work just fine. This cotton candy dubbing, I don't know. We all it's like gold out there right now. Everyone's trying to figure out their own mixture and stuff like that, but it doesn't really seem to matter too much. Again, you don't want to have a lot, just a little bit there. Like I don't really use the wax. Just like take small pieces here, get it super tight.
Is it all synthetics or it's got natural hair?
It's all natural hair. Yep, all natural.
Yeah, we're all set up to better to start at 5 o'clock.
Start from the back. I like to keep this pretty thin because after you catch a few fish on this guy, it starts opening up and coming loose. And you can trim it up as you go, but once it gets wet and once it starts breaking up, it actually fishes better. It just looks more buggy, which I love. Same with that cotton candy. Let's do a little bit more here. Okay. And then same thing, that neck. And you want to get this like light gray color. And be careful too when you go and buy these. There are some out there that are just I don't know if it's like the breed of bird. I don't know what they're doing, but they're too fat and they just don't look as good. So I think get as tight as you can. Your thread will still fit through. Pull that hackle back just a little bit. Do a couple wraps. I want the orange to show too. I like that orange to show. Just do a couple whip finishes there. Like I said, use your nail polish. And that's it. That's the jelly bean.
Very nice.
Looks
Super
great.
simple. Yeah, but great pattern. I typically will fish that. Like right now, my go-to fly patterns are the cotton candy on top, jelly bean underneath. Right now too, I'm not going to tie them tonight because they're super simple. Zebra midges, obviously. Red zebra midges behind that, or like a mixture of red and black thread to get that red and that little larva, pretty much. So that works pretty good right now. So that's it. Jelly bean.
Very,
you
very
can-
nice. I could watch you all night. This
Oh,
may
good.
be a good place to stop.
Awesome. Okay.
The
Cool.
reason that we're going to have a board meeting
Yes,
in this room
perfect.
starting at 6 o'clock.
Right on. Well, there you guys go. Those
Thank
are
you
just
so much.
some of the
Thank you
Bighorn
very much.
flies.